welcome to Scary Movie and a Sandwich, a show all about comfort foods and horror movies. I'm your host, Artem Yatsanov. On every episode of Scary Movie and a Sandwich, my guests and I pair a perfect sandwich with a carefully curated horror film, and together we dive deep and digest and dissect the hidden layers and hidden meanings of both the sandwich and the movie. Our show is recorded at Keyframe Studios in sunny Hollywood, California, and is produced by Craig Lewis. Our show is edited by Zoe Hellings. Zoe Hellings is a filmmaker to watch, working out of Los Angeles, California, and you can follow Zoe's work at zoe.hellings on YouTube and Instagram. Our horror synopsis correspondent is, as always, the intrepid Antonia Lassar. You can follow Antonia's work at Antonia Lassar on Instagram and TikTok, as well as on her podcast, Yenta Pod. And lastly, our original artwork comes from our master of visuals, Luther Thompson. You can follow Luther's work at Tats Thompson on Instagram. We're so excited to have you with us on Scary Movie and a Sandwich, a show for anyone who's ever been afraid or hungry. Enjoy.
I have this problem at parties all the time. People ask me, what do you do? And then I say DevOps engineer. And that is a conversation ender. Right? No one really knows what that means.
Yeah.
And then if they start to ask what it means, it's a long, boring, explanation. Like if you do know what it means, you know exactly what I do.
I love and appreciate your sense of like self-awareness. Like,
there's an accolade that qualifies me for the show.
Yes.
It is that I own the domain name.
Fuck yes. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's. I forgot. Greg owns EvilDead.com, right?
That is so good. There's nothing there.
That is so good.
There's not even a website up there. But actually, if you email me, I do get that.
Welcome to Scary Movie and a Sandwich, your cozy, easy listening, easy watching show all about scary foods, scary movies. Welcome to Scary Movie and a Sandwich, your cozy, easy listening, and easy watching show all about scary movies and tasty foods. With me, your host, Artem. With me today, fantastic guest. He is a game designer. He is a music producer. He's a absolute consummate hobbyist of the tabletop role-playing game scene. He's one of the preeminent folks you'll see at Story Games Los Angeles meetups. Games on Demand, as they're also known. Kind of my go-to person to talk about mechanics of role-playing games and to talk about like concepts and how to like make things work in storytelling ways that could be, gamified. And there's one other accolade, but first and foremost, folks, this is Greg Hellings. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you on. You're a fan of Evil Dead.
Yeah, a bit.
Greg, can you share with us something you just the producer here in the audience, Craig Lewis, producer here. We're coming to you live from Keyframes. Our producer's absolutely on the edge of his seat, because there's a bomb that you just dropped.
Well, I guess if there's something that qualifies me to talk about this movie, it might be that I own the domain name EvilDead.com.
You are EvilDead.com.
There's nothing there. there hasn't been for years. But since about 97, I've owned the domain name EvilDead.com
since the birth of the internet.
Yeah.
As I imagine.
It's pretty close.
This is next tier, folks. Wow. Yeah. How valuable do we think it is?
I don't know. I've never really seriously considered selling it. I have gotten offers over the years, but I've never really taken them.
Because this movie. So, before we get ahead of ourselves, so today we're watching and we're eating. I mean, Greg, to tell us the full thing. What are we watching? What are we eating today?
We are watching Evil Dead 2.
Yes.
And we are pairing that with Howlin Ray's Sando.
Yeah. The nice spicy chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to both the chat, but also these very spicy sandwiches. The reason I think the Evil Dead domain's got to be extremely valuable, because this franchise continued to be like influential, and people have loved it. And it feels like it never goes away. I feel people constantly love to bring it up in conversation about, oh, this movie did this for the first time, blah, blah, blah. Or like, just like there's so much love for Evil Dead.
For sure.
The whole franchise, particularly those like early movies.
Yeah. No. I think it's to a certain extent, it's even more influential than it would even seem on the surface, right?
Yes.
Like the shooting style that Sam Raimi uses in this movie, him and the Coen brothers basically kind of they created shaky cam, and they're this like very fast editing.
Yeah.
You see, like Raising Arizona, Evil Dead came out in the same, Evil Dead 2, they come out in the same year.
Yeah.
Right. They were all roommates together.
Really?
Yeah, the Coen brothers, Sam Raimi, Kathy Bates, and Holly Hunter and Frances McDermott all lived in a house together.
Oh my God, that's
And
a powerhouse.
They write
literally.
They write Evil Dead 2 and Raising Arizona together at the same time, and then the movie that Sam Raimi makes in between Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 is this bomb film that he makes with the Coen brothers called Crime Wave. Like it does not do well.
No, but I've heard of Crime Wave. I've never seen it.
Yeah, so it develops this style that then they go on to make Raising Arizona and Evil Dead 2, and everybody copies afterwards.
My God, I love this. Okay. Yeah. Well, like, if that's not enough, like, to be sold on it, like, folks, like, you got to get yourself to see Evil Dead 2. It's time. You deserve it. It's just a blast. And it's definitely a great movie just to watch with a sandwich and having an absolutely fantastic, like, relaxing time. If you don't have time for that, sadly, then in that case, we have a very amazing, energizing, thought-provoking, absolutely earth-shatteringly great synopsis of this perennial classic. We have an all original synopsis for Evil Dead 2 for you right now.
Hey sandwiches, how you doing? It's time for the best part of the episode. Me! It's me, Antonia Lassar. I am the iconic spouse of Artem. What a hunk, that one. Am I right? Incredible tush, terrible taste in movies. I personally hate horror movies. I refuse to watch horror movies. So I'm going to read you the synopsis as someone who has never seen this movie. I haven't read the synopsis. And look, I have feedback. I have some input. So sue me. So let's begin. Evil 2.
Oh, fuck me. Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead 2.
Sorry.
We're starting off on the right foot here. Evil Dead 2, 1987. I'm just going off the title here. I hate it. This is a bad vibe title. I've heard this title in the ether, and every time I hear this title, I think, not for me, not for me. So let's read it. In Evil Dead 2, nothing good happens, everyone dies, it's a bummer. That's what it says. In Evil Dead 2, Ash Williams, okay, Pokemon, Ash Williams, played by Bruce Campbell and his chin. That's good. And his girlfriend, Linda, played by Denise Bixler. Oh, Denise Bixler didn't stay in the industry very long, probably because she was eaten by zombies or something. They take a romantic getaway to a remote cabin in the woods, unaware of the horrors buried within. I want to stop reading.
What are you talking about? It's just about to get good.
Remote cabin in the woods. I do love remote cabins in the woods, but they never have horrors buried within. And things like this make me start to imagine horrors buried within when we do go to remote cabins in the woods, and that's kind of a bummer.
Well, then you get to think about the horrors, and you're ready for the horrors when they happen.
I hate it. When Ash Ketchum discovers a tape recorder left by Professor Noby, an investigator of ancient religions, okay, Da Vinci Code, who once studied the Necronomicon Ex Mortis. That feels redundant.
What you mean is that the book sounds like it's chill, extra chill, cozy.
Extra super chill. So he discovers a tape recorder. Okay. He plays the recording on the tape recorder and inadvertently awakens an ancient evil that possesses the forest. From a tape recorder?
Yeah, that's right. It's a very powerful technology.
That seems like a stretch. It's funny because I guess opening a book I would completely believe would awaken an ancient evil, but pressing play on a tape recorder, it's like I don't believe would awaken an ancient evil.
It's like the evil hears the chant that allows its passage into
is the professor chanting on the tape recorder?
Well, kind of. He just reads it out loud, but it's like, those are the words you're not supposed to say.
I see. A devastating story about what happened before we switched to CDs. Linda becomes one of the first victims. Oh, her body overtaken by demonic forces. Oh, forcing Ash to decapitate the woman he loves. And that's just the first 5 minutes of the film? What? Oh no, this sucks. As night falls, the cabin transforms into a haunted labyrinth. Oh my. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. I'm done. I don't like it.
I kept it short, I promise.
I don't like it. The cabin transforms into a haunted labyrinth where unseen entities slam doors, hurl objects, and torment Ash's sanity. And it's all after dark. I hate nighttime. I hate nighttime in movies. Movies should only be set during daytime. Nighttime in real life is okay, but I also don't love it. The terror escalates when Professor Noby's daughter, Annie Noby, played by Sarah Berry. Sarah Berry is very close to Sarah Bear, my alter ego every time I have to sign up for anything with a mailing list. Annie Noby arrives with her research team, hoping to contain the evil spirit. Ooh, fun! I love a research team. And it's like you have a little hope because it's like, a research team, they've got things. Instead, they become trapped inside with Ash. What a shock. As the demonic presence grows stronger, picking off the newcomers one by one.
You're doing great. This is so good.
I'm so demoralized. The Deadites.
Yeah, that's what they're called.
Oh, God. The Deadites. They couldn't just say zombies. The Deadites, the grotesque reanimated corpses driven by chaos, mock and attack with supernatural fury. Oh, they're fast. That's why they're not zombies. Filling the cabin with unending streaks and bucketfuls of blood. Why are we doing this? One of the film's most infamous sequences occurs when Ash's own hand becomes possessed and violently turns against him. Wow, that's cool. And difficult acting work. Okay, Bruce Campbell. Oh, I thought this was Bruce Willis. Okay, so he's got his hand turns against him. Ash wrestles, smashes, and finally severs his demonic limb in a geyser of blood. Good God. He then straps a chainsaw in place of his severed hand. He didn't need to cut off his hand to just use a chainsaw.
That's not the point. He had to cut it off to get rid of the demonic thing.
Okay, but now he straps the chainsaw. He picks up a sawed-off shotgun in the other and, armed and unhinged, instantly becomes one of the most recognizable icons of cinema and pop culture.
You've seen this image.
Not my icon. That's crazy. Ugh, how he cuts off his own hand. I hate this. There are other movies that we do here where I read them and I think, okay, this could be cute. This is not cute.
It's fun and gross, but you really.
It's not fun. I would not call this fun. And I also feel really glad about avoiding the phrase Evil Dead every time I see it. Oh, wait, so how does it end? It's just like him and his chainsaw hand, and he's just like, I'm gonna get him.
Well, actually, the ending is great. He fights all these Deadites, and then there's like a time portal, like a kind of like a portal he gets sucked into in the house that sends him back in time. And the movie ends on like a cliffhanger as he's like in medieval times. There's like Arthurian knights. There's like a demon that's flying, and he shoots the demon with a shotgun. And everybody's like, "All hail!" And he's like, "Oh God, oh no, I don't want to be here." And it's like he's just like stuck in medieval times.
What?
And then the next movie is called Army of Darkness, where he's straight up with this chainsaw hand, shotgun, walking around, and there's like knights and like reanimated skeletons with spears and stuff. It gets really, really kooky. It's not really scary. It just becomes really wild and fun.
You keep saying the word fun.
It's fun.
And
fun. It's fun.
I think something went deeply wrong in your childhood. This is a dark look into your psyche.
I'm a happy person.
Oof. People, send help.
Let's wrap it up. Come on.
Sam Raimi's direction is kinetic and unyielding, with his camera seeming to fly, spin, and crash through the cabin, giving the film a uniquely destabilizing, eye-opening energy. Okay, love that. Meanwhile, the practical effects, all lovingly handcrafted, I love that, explode and shower the screen in severed limbs, decapitated cackling heads, and fountains of gushing blood. Ugh. A 1 in a million combo of Raimi's tireless and timeless camera techniques, fountains of blood, you keep saying fountains of blood, and gruesome practical effects, and Bruce Campbell's zealously physical over-the-top performance, Evil Dead 2 has become one of the most influential, beloved, and highly recommended genre films today. I hate it.
I stand by it. Watch this.
Boycott. We don't need fountains of blood. We have enough blood. We should keep it on the inside. None of this sounds fun. Don't put this in front of your eyeballs. This is bad for you. You people who can watch like severed limbs and not viscerally feel like you're actually watching a severed limb in front of you, I don't understand how you do it, honestly, because I feel like it's actually a severed limb in front of me.
We're tough folks, that's why.
Yeah, damaged. That's my synopsis. Moral of the story, don't watch Evil Dead 2. Instead, go, I don't know, get a piece of cake. That sounds better.
Can't disagree with that.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Wow. That's nailed it.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
absolutely.
On par with the classic itself. This
For sure. I was riveted.
Will go down in the annals of time as one of the best synopsises. Amazing. Well, okay, now our viewers are familiar with Evil Dead 2. Greg, let's get into
Absolutely.
Let's get into the tasty chats.
Yeah.
You already kind of brought us into talking about just like thinking about this movie being influential. And I always am thinking about how often the Evil Dead franchise, first of all, they keep making sequels and remaking them, which I'm not all familiar with, and they're different films than what this is. But to your point, the influences that this then has
For sure.
are so fascinating because you're right. Like you don't necessarily think about it, but they pop up all over the place.
Yeah. So there's the obvious influence on like the horror genre, right, and the horror comedy genre, right. But I also think that there's and then there's this technical the way this was shot.
Yeah.
This has this huge influence on the rest of film and outside of film, and then like coming back to the horror genre, all the other things outside of film that it influences, like classically all the video games, Doom specifically is that's supposed to be a mashup of Ash and Aliens or something, right?
That's really funny.
They call that out. But there's so many other video games that that claim Evil Dead 2 is an influence.
Certainly. And you feel like he's in as soon as the game points it out, you're like, yeah, of course.
Yeah. And then like I said, to the whole horror comedy genre, I think that it's super influential, in it's not like the first horror comedy, right? There's
sure,
been but I think it's the first slapstick horror comedy in the way that this hits that like slapstick level.
Yeah. It's interesting. So let's talk a little bit about like what's kind of unique about Evil Dead 2. That because even I keep from getting myself more familiarized with movies from different decades and stuff, and so like I have a huge back catalog of things to watch. But even looking at films that came out the same year as this film, it's like it's like maybe this year or the year just before it came out, because this was released in 1987.
Yeah.
And it's like Teen Wolf 2 was coming out, and it's like Frankenhooker 2 or 3 was coming, like just a real random. There's a slew of movies that could have only existed in the 80s, which was like really fascinating itself. But then just looking into this movie on its own, the way the story is told is fascinating. I kind of like was
I'm assuming you're talking about the pacing.
the pacing.
Race.
Yeah. Typically you have, I think, with the expectation with the horror movie that there's going to be some kind of amount of time spent setting the stakes,
Right.
creating suspense, mood, tension. And in this movie, within the first 5 minutes, our main character's girlfriend is beheaded with a shovel.
Yeah.
Like gets right into the action. Like it is not wasting time.
No, it's a very efficient storytelling throughout. I mean, part of that is out of necessity, right?
Okay,
because this is a sequel, but it's a sequel to a movie that not a lot of people saw, and so they do need to recap the first movie, right? But they don't have rights to the original footage.
Whoa, okay.
Right?
I
So
did not know that.
yeah, so that they have to reshoot everything that for this recap at the beginning. And so if you look at like the first 10 minutes of the film, it's essentially recapping all of the first film, right? In a slimmed down way, right? In the original film, you have 5 kids go up to a cabin, and they get picked off one by one until ultimately Ash is the last remaining one. And this they slim that down to just Ash and his girlfriend go to the cabin, and then they play out that whole scene. But yeah, in 5 minutes he's chopped off his girlfriend's head, right? But I think throughout the whole thing you see that it's very efficient storytelling.
Very efficient.
Yeah.
But also in that, like, it isn't quite a sequel. It almost feels like a remake. I feel like that's how people usually can almost talk about it. Is that they're 2 different films.
For sure.
Yeah.
It
does the way
say,
they feel too.
It does say EvilDead 2 in the title, so officially I think it is a sequel, right? Like it kind of has to be, but yeah, tonally very different movies.
But I'm just saying that the main character Ash doesn't act like this has happened before. He's like nothing weird has ever happened to him before.
No.
Yeah.
Well, again, the whole first movie is recapped or retold again.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this movie. So the idea was that you would be able to go to this movie without having ever seen the first movie, and you would already see the whole story or all the pertinent parts.
Why do they keep the name then? That's so random.
Yeah, the rights situation, and like we'll get into that, right? Because of the rights situation with Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 actually like end up being kind of part of the mystique of this film for a long time, right? For a really long time, it was very hard to see these movies because the rights were not clear, right?
You were telling me you had a very compellingly difficult time.
Yeah,
getting your. Did you just to pivot for a second? When did you see this movie for the first time?
It would have to have been in the kind of mid 90s or early mid 90s ish. So like for me that's like high school. But yeah, by this point, I have seen, I even around this time I did eventually go see these things in theaters. But the first time I saw it for sure was like on a VHS tape, right? That we had to go to a very specific store to go rent, that I'd heard about, like, oh, this video store has a copy of it. But yeah, you couldn't just walk into the average video store and rent it, let alone buy it.
And this was because of a lot of the rights issues?
Yeah. Especially for the first film, but for the second film as well, like they had weird rights issues going on.
Wasn't there like a Swedish version of this movie that you saw?
So the first copy of it I ever owned,
Uh-huh.
I had a friend coming over from Sweden, and it was easily available to buy in Sweden, even though not because there, again, rights issues in different countries and stuff. Yeah, he brought it over. It was in PAL format. I didn't even have a PAL format via VCR, and so like I'd have to like go over to another friend's house to watch it.
Oh my god! Was it like with Swedish subtitles or?
No, it was just just the English movie. But he was able to get it over there and then bring it over here. Eventually, they got all that there's enough money behind it, and there's like 1 million versions of it that you can buy.
But I can see how all of that adds to this mystique, and people want to reinvest in it and kind of watch it. So going back to the movie, now people are sitting down and watching the movie, and suddenly like we're talking about like the way this movie is told is really I think unexpected. I think it's doing some really unique things
for sure. I think my wife, the first time she saw it, she told me that she used to just go through the TV guide looking for anything that was marked as horror. Right. And when she was in I think actually for her, she saw this first in junior high, and she saw that this horror movie was going to be on, and so she set up the VCR to tape it and stuff, and then when she went to go watch it, she was like, is that horror? Right. Like, because it's funny. Right. Like it slowly dawned. I guess a horror can be funny, right? Mm-hmm. It could be two things at once. And that, like I said, I think there's a lot of horror movies that are unintentionally funny. Mm-hmm. Right.
Especially I think in the 80s, there's a ton of films that are kind of almost like figuring out how do we scare an audience. Or feeling like, it's like a lot of I feel like movies in the genre where you get a lot of those tropes is like, oh, there's got to be like the blonde bimbo. You got to have the jock. You get all these like stereotypes. So it's like, so a lot of these movies have the tropes in them, and that makes them particularly predictable and like hard to then scare people. So then they're not.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's parts of the first Evil Dead movie that are unintentionally funny. Right. Like that it is supposed to be like a straight up horror film, and there are parts of it that are just from production quality reasons and amateur actors and stuff that are really funny, but they're unintentionally funny, whereas this is Evil Dead 2 is an intentionally funny movie.
Yeah
Right, that also is a horror film.
It feels like it means everything it's doing.
For sure. Yeah. But it still remains a horror film, where I would even make the argument that the sequel to this, Army of Darkness, is not a horror film.
I've seen it a long time ago, and I remember just feeling it's particularly it's fun and goofy, but I would definitely not find it.
Yeah, I
was always struck by the skeleton soldiers walking around who are playing bagpipes, and I'm like, they don't have any lungs. How are they playing bagpipes? What's going on? Like, I just remember being like, what is this? It's so funny. Like, it
looks like a Ray Harryhausen thing.
For sure.
Right. Yeah.
For sure.
And there is some of that in Evil Dead 2, right? There's some stop motion. There's lots and lots of stop motion.
There's a bit of claymation. Yeah. Right? Like, I feel like there's like this, there's like a zoom out shot. Again, talking about like some of the funny moments. Just Bruce Campbell is like such a classic in this. When he's like up against, he drives back to. He's trying to get away from the cabin. He drives back to the bridge that they crossed. The bridge has been collapsed, and like his reaction's like, no, oh no, oh no, and he's like, and then it zooms out, and it's clearly a claymation.
Yeah.
Little like
just a miniature.
Just how jerky the movement is. And I was like, why did they do that? And I'm like, oh, I guess they couldn't get this shot with this vista. So they just kind of, but it's just moments when you're like, okay, all right. Well, like it's not masked enough for you to not notice it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a tone that is like, it's doing something on purpose. So like, okay. So in terms of storytelling, so frenetic. So it's jumping from action sequence to action sequence. I almost feel like it's I kind of mentioned this to you, like the notion of like the sum of its parts. It really does feel like you have these. It's a collection of. I don't want to say them like in a sort of a sketch comedy kind of way, like sketches, but they are like these like set pieces.
It absolutely is.
Right. Yeah. Like let's do the beheading of the girlfriend. Let's do the girlfriend's claymation corpse dancing. Let's do the. A Bruce Campbell running through every door possible in the house, kind of Scooby-Doo chase, and we're not sure what he's being chased by. So it's like they're doing each one, right, is illustrating a unique camera thing, kind of a cool thing you haven't seen before. Yeah, it is it's really neat. Like that's such an interesting, I guess, fun way to like make a movie. I'm like, all right, it'd be really cool. Okay,
Right.
For this sequence, we'll do this.
It's like if Buster Keaton made a horror film,
100%.
right? So what? And instead of like writing a whole plot out, right? What they've done is they've created a series of different set pieces, right? For this gag to work or this effect or whatever. And then they've strung them all together in the same way that you would like a Jackie Chan film with his big action set pieces, but these are horror set pieces.
Yes.
Right. And so, like you're there for each one of those set pieces, and the overall story is,
Right.
what it is.
Well, it exactly, because you could in some way make the argument, you could just pull out any of these set pieces and put something else in place, and the story is not going to be affected.
Yeah, with the few exceptions.
That's
Yeah,
right.
the hand cutting off scene does have an impact on the rest
That's
of
right.
the.
That's right.
But yeah, like many of the other little set pieces don't have like significant narrative impact, but they're like important for the film, right? Yeah.
Are there what are like your kind of choice sequences in this film that you feel like still have impact,
Yeah,
and B,
yeah.
like you just like love to see?
I mean, there's so many. I mean, the scene where his hand becomes possessed is, I mean, I think that this is. If you're talking about like Buster Keaton style acting or Three Stooges style, and which is, they've stated we were trying to make a Three Stooges film that's horror, but the scene where he gets in this fight with his hand and then ultimately has to some amazing acting. It's all him, it's not a stunt double doing those flips.
Yeah, this is an incredible moment where like the hand grabs his face and yanks him forward, and he does a full
flip,
flip, and I'm like,
and then smashes
Campbell's
several
awesome.
plates into his face.
And also I noticed just Bruce Campbell's physicality throughout this is like remarkable.
Yeah.
He's very limber. There's like at some point he like slips on something and his legs go up, and I'm like, did he just do a full split? He's like,
Yeah. No, it's
that sequence is incredible with the hand. Is so funny.
Absolutely.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's cut and like they're just long sequences that of just him going whole ham with his hand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you when it finally does cut, it's just edited so well. The hand dragging himself across the floor to reach the knife, and then him stabbing the hand just before it gets there, and
the hand has like a weird squeaky voice.
Yeah.
It's kind of chattering. You're like, well, how's it talking? I think that's actually a great example of how they use some good horror language, because it's a lot of true, no pun intended, but real sleight of hand kind of stuff where it's like, oh, look at this, and then the shock is and there's a knife pins the hand down. It's a lot of like, look over here so that we can surprise you with a thing over here,
right?
And that happens all throughout the movie, but with this particular scene, it's because you really just think that the hand's gonna figure it out,
right?
They gotta get that, they gotta get you with it.
For some behind the scenes on that this movie's written by Sam Raimi and Scott Spiegel. Scott Spiegel had done a previously a horror short with a hamburger helper hand that attacks a woman in the kitchen, and a lot of the shots from all this part are just like reused.
Great.
In this like sequence. This is definitely done way bigger and better, but like conceptually a lot of it comes from that, and that shows you like how it was like they started with that piece, right? They're like, oh, we want to do a scene where a hand attacks a guy, and they work their way backwards from there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What happens? How does the hand behave?
Yeah.
Right. Because a lot of it is like, it's clearly the actor doing it, right? And then at some point they have to have I mean, it is a really skillful storytelling, because it becomes him discovering the hand is possessed, then the hand is really doing stuff, then he needs to stop the hand, he's smacking the hand is smacking him back, and suddenly we focus just on the hand because now he's unconscious. Like, well, what's the hand gonna do? It's like the hand becomes a character. It's very fun. Yeah.
I love the way the hand actually like turns into a whole character. That scene where the hand flips him off, at the as he's
Trying to
shooting
shoot
at
it,
it. All brilliant.
I love that sequence. I love this is kind of a motif throughout, but I love the use of buckets and buckets of blood. It's so, first of all, it's so funny, and it is constantly unexpected. I'm not sure where the blood's coming from. Like when one of the townies who drives the truck gets pulled into the basement, and the townie's like girlfriend's trying to hold on Bobby Joe, right? She's trying to
spewing blood,
and it's what's happening to the body that we can't see, and she's just.
And all the different colors of the blood, right?
The blood's not a consistent color.
Which actually, this is one of those like necessity breeds creativity. They were shooting for an R rating for this movie, and they thought, if all the blood's red, we're never going to get that R rating. So we'll change.
Because at this time it would have been an X rating, right? Because it was too much blood.
They're like they did a bunch. Ultimately, the film got released unrated. Right.
Okay.
And like contributes to like it doesn't get a super wide release because of that, right? But they make a bunch of choices to like downgrade the violence from the previous film. Since both films have been rated, EvilDead got an NC-17. That rating didn't exist then, and EvilDead 2 gets an R. But they made all these like choices to make the gore and the violence a little more cartoony, trying to get that R rating. And by the end of it, they look at it and go, "We're never going to get it, right?"
just
let's just release it unrated.
At some point, the blood turns black.
Yeah,
it's just like spewing out of like the wall. I love it. We should fly in some sandwiches here, because I think we're talking about getting messy. We're talking about things flying everywhere. Let's deal with add some spice to this. Our sandwiches come from Howlin Ray's. Love the packaging. Greg, pitch us a little bit on why you feel this goes with the EvilDead 2.
So I'm this place has kind of hot, somewhat sloppy hot chicken sandos.
Okay.
And like that's the thing they're known for. They are known for cartoon levels of heat.
With smoke blowing out of our ears.
Like there's we've not opted for the cartoon levels, but there's levels that come with a stiff warning and gloves.
Right. Okay. There's the NC-17 rating of
right. But they make I think a really amazing hot chicken sandwich. They kicked off the whole hot chicken sandwich craze in LA that which I know exists throughout the country, but like here in LA, this was the first place.
Oh, okay. My box is a little different. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Howlin. All right. I'm psyched.
Yeah.
Greg, thank you very much.
I think you're gonna enjoy it.
Thank you. And okay. That's nice. That's very exciting immediately.
It's a good looking sandwich.
It's a sizable sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
All right.
Hey, Groovy. Apologies.
Yeah. Bit of
Making a
mess
mess in the studio. Apologies.
Yeah, not just hot, right? But like kind of sweet.
It's a dry rub, right?
It's a dry rub.
Yeah.
And it's going to sneak up on you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I can already tell.
Initially hot, but keeps getting hotter.
That's right. It builds up layers, Mm-hmm. Right. It's an experience, much like this movie. This needs to be consumed and experienced. Oh, it's great. What's the sauce on here?
I mean, it's their hot sauce.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is really excellent. The chicken is Really juicy. The spices, I think I wouldn't say it's not oppressive, but it's definitely really flavorful.
Yeah,
and
you notice it, right?
you're aware of it. Yeah, a little sweat, just a little bit of sweat.
Yeah,
Which is good. Good for the good for the circulation. Good for your health. It's also got pickles on it, which I feel like is great. Get a little mix it up a little bit, keeping it fresh. The lettuce, you gotta have your veggies.
Yep.
This is great. I mean, this is a sizable sandwich.
It's what they do for the bun here too, or the the breading is it also it's it's kind of sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It sets off the spice. If you are looking to connect this to the movie,
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
right? We got the heat, right?
Of course.
And it's kind of like our horror,
Our horror,
right?
Mhm.
And then you got that sweetness, and it's kind of like the comedy, right?
I love that.
And the absolute mess of it all. There's no way I'm biting this without
Yeah.
getting it.
And Craig, I'm so sorry.
All
that
over the place.
We're making a mess in the studio here. Wow. Howlin Ray's great job. This is terrific. Woo! Yeah, that's got me going. Wow. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
About EvilDead. Trying to get my thoughts together. What do you think? This is a bit of a leading question, but what do you think about this movie makes it an exciting thing to watch with someone else? Like, what makes this kind of a good movie-going experience?
I mean, I think like comedy is just always something that is going to be more enjoyable with other people, right? You're like watching other people's reaction to this. It just increases the enjoyment factor. I've gone to a number of midnight screenings to go see EvilDead 2, and every time it's there's always somebody too that you end up bringing with you who's never seen the movie before.
Yeah, it's so fun.
And just like watching them watch this movie, and, getting those reactions out of it. It's kind of like it gives you that for like me. I've seen these movies like a million times.
Right.
Gives me this like opportunity to kind of experience it again vicariously through somebody else. But also, I mean, my first experience with the big was watching this was like with a big group of people where we were all like dying over the because there's a lot of like shocking parts to it. Having this communal shock just makes it more like meaningful, right? If you're just sitting there by yourself and you see these moments, it's still gonna work, right? But if you're with somebody else and you can hear their reactions, it's gonna,
It really strikes me as like a movie that has a live element to it, and also kind of come across in the movie making. It feels filled with like a sense of camaraderie and joy, but there's a lot of fun. It has this quality of making you feel like it wants you to have a good time.
Yeah,
And there's something
sure.
about like you were watching, be like, oh my god, can you believe they just saw that? Like, look, you see that geyser of blood? That's crazy. That's ridiculous. Like, it is both inviting you to laugh at what's going on, and it's also inviting you to, I think it's like a good classic movie has that thing. It's like it invites you and the viewer next to you to have like an inside joke.
Sure.
It kind of bonds the
Yeah.
viewer. You know what I mean? Like it's something about people who, and that's the thing is like there's definitely horror fans and movie fans who just like don't care for these movies, and they just like quote unquote don't get it. And
Right.
and it's that's also kind of nice to have a movie that is that can be polarizing, not because of something that's like egregious or there's some kind of politics or some kind of content element that is just is offensive. Not just polarizing people who are like, what's so cool about it? And people are like, this movie is fucking great,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think this is a movie that that you do have to get, right? That like we keep saying, oh, it's so funny, right? But I think a lot of people might watch it and be like, what are you talking about? Yeah, there are not like obvious jokes, right? There are these horror moments that you're either going to find funny or you're just not going to get it all.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're looking for this movie to be terrifying, right? It's not for most people. I don't think it's going to end up being a terrifying movie.
No, I don't. I feel like even for people who are likely to avoid scary movies, don't like to be scared,
Yeah.
I think those people are not going to be,
Right.
upset by it.
No. I mean, there's an intense amount of gore on the screen, but it's so over the top that it never ends up being. It doesn't like. There's this uncanniness to it that makes it not repugnant.
Right, and then I think the performances kind of sell the stakes sell.
Yeah.
Like, this is a question I wanted to ask you. Like, how much of this movie do you think is played for laughs, and how much of it is meant to be sort of, kind of helping you feel, even Bruce Campbell's like approach to those different scenes. There's an element of like, okay, he's playing some of this earnestly, but some of this, I think they know that they're doing something comical on purpose.
I think so. I think that Sam Raimi picks out actors who are earnest but big, right? That they have big performances,
Okay,
right? And that they are definitely he's not looking for naturalistic actors, right? He's looking for it's kind of like stage acting where you're bigger than you are, and at no point are you ever
right. You're playing for the back seats, right?
Yeah. But that doesn't mean you're not earnest, right? It doesn't mean that you're playing everything, for comedy.
So there's a sequence.
There's this moment kind of towards the middle of the film where it's that moment where he walks over, he looks in the mirror, and he reaches through and grabs himself.
Stunning.
Yeah,
and then stunning.
Yeah,
that's so interesting.
Yeah, that whole sequence, where everything comes alive and he's laughing and and I feel like if there is a scary moment in the film, right? Like to me that's the part where you can really you relate to him at like all he's gone through at this point, and that's how we'd react. You're like you go a little mad, right? And it's not even clear whether any of that really happens.
And it's
right?
that's the thing. It's like it's one of the things, actually, one of the sequences I had listed out, because the mirror moment I just think is so spectacular. Yeah, you're right. I don't think of that, like that it suddenly becomes like, it feels a little bit just like the story goes, this is madness. You would kind of start to lose it a bit if you're not actually going through all of this. And it then sets up him to be able to be like, to react to things with this skittishness and nervousness. Did I hear that? Did that happen?
Yeah.
What's going on, And there's like that moment, because after that he imagines that he goes somewhere, but then he hears something outside, but then suddenly he opens his eyes and he's still sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
Right. Like
all that craziness happens, and the blood comes flying out of the wall, right?
Yeah.
And he gets covered in it, and then it all sucks back up, and then he's like he's back in the chair as if nothing happened, and the whole cabin isn't covered in blood anymore or whatever. So like maybe that all just like. Maybe that's him going mad, or maybe it's the evilness causing him to see all this, or maybe it all actually happened or whatever. But
tell me what you think is. I guess let's just get into it. Like get into the crux of it. Like, what do you think is the movie about?
Oh, it is a clear cut.
Okay, yeah, but this is in your opinion, yeah.
It's a Pandora's box.
Okay.
Right, is a Pandora's box story, right? The Book of the Dead is your Pandora's box. You open it up. In this case, he plays the tape that recites the passage. But there's already like something evil even kind of before that. You get like a little sense that it's still out there from whenever the guy read it before or whatever. But like. This book opens up and lets all the evil from this other dimension into our world. So it's the Pandora's box story. But beyond that, I think is interesting, right? Is most horror films of this like time period have some kind of social message. Like they're saying something. They're like, even if they don't admit it, they're trying to like, there's some kind of social commentary that they're making. This movie does not have that, right? there is no like, bigger moral being told through this story other than, curiosity can kill you, right? Because that's like in Georgia Romero's films, or Wes Craven's films, or like all they've got all these little bits of social commentary that they're using the genre of horror to say something about society. And here, this is just fun, right?
It's interesting because then when I think about like the very schlocky horror movies of this time, they're still leaning into tropes that are some kind of a social commentary, like the idea, if you have sex, you're gonna die, is still a commentary about this, a conservative culture that's scared of sex, and or serial killers are always something demented. Well, if you're raised by the wrong people, if you're in the wrong community, like you will become a serial killer. Like there's like even when they're not trying to say that, there are these tropes and stereotypes that are allowing these movies to tell their scary stories. But you feel Evil Dead 2 is intentionally just about.
I mean, look, you could make some kind of argument that about it being about hyper consumerism or what. I'd be interested to hear what that is, But I think it's going to be a stretch, right? I think this movie is not about more than what it looks like it is on the screen.
I tend to tend to overthink and read way too deep into things. So I'm also like, okay, if I decided to try to, wean some kind of moral or idea out of this movie, then I'm like, what would that be? Like I don't know, the fear of being alone. That's because he's kind of trapped in the cabin. Like that's not really necessarily. There's a social commentary there. You're right. Like there's something about this that is so. If you're trying to find a deeper message,
it resists it.
It really does.
Unlike other horror, it's so easy to find some kind of social commentary in like Night of the Living Dead or like all the zombie films or even in the your Jason
Sure, but then you have the movies that are as graphic and as maybe schlocky in the sense of that they sort of, there are certain things that they're doing, they still end up what's with the Slumber Party Massacre. It's got some schlock, but it's actually a very intentional film about like this is a movie about a culture of people who are of men obsessed with attacking and hurting women, and this is the women taking it back. They're chopping this guy's quote unquote drill off. They're still, even though they're in the like they have to be made in a particular way to even exist in the 80s, right? This is not a slander in the 80s. I'm just saying that there's a particular language and a particular expectation for a movie. It's interesting how suddenly this movie stands out. How much do you feel like about that contributes to its like fandom? Like what's made this movie still a property people keep coming back to?
I think part like weirdly, I think part of what ends up being the thing that has made this such a huge fandom is how it ends, and it ends in a kind of a power fantasy. But it's only like it's only towards the end of the movie. You're getting a Yankee in King Arthur's court moment at the end of the film, and like I think ultimately that's why it was so influential to these video games. That like there's this big power. He become like for most of the other horror series of this era, the face of those franchises is the monster, and for this franchise, it's Ash, right? He's a clear hero, right? Whereas like in most of these other horror films, you've got like a final girl, but the final girl isn't set up in the same kind of like power fantasy way that he becomes set up.
Sure.
So I think that has something to do with like how and I think that's unintentional. I don't think they were like trying for this, because he comes off as this reluctant hero, and even at the end he's like, I think the last line is something like, what'll make it stop or whatever. Like he doesn't want to be in this situation, but I think for a lot of people they look at this like, oh, that's my Yankee and King
Right.
court power
Yeah,
fantasy.
it's like he's surrounded by these medieval knights and they're all chanting. He's like, no,
He's got
he's
got the modern weaponry, and
but they're all, but it literally is like the camera zooms out. They're all chanting, and he does not want to be there.
right. I think that's the moment that his character becomes like fully formed as the Ash character too, because I think through the rest of the movie he isn't. When you think about this character Ash, he's a loudmouth braggart,
Yeah, he's just kind of a goof, I guess.
Yeah, but well, in Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2, for most of Evil Dead 2, he isn't yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in Evil Dead 1, he's actually the nice guy.
Right.
And he's not particularly braggadocious or cowardly, right? And Evil Dead 2, he hasn't really like, there's a few lines with his girlfriend. He's got a few like one-liners that he does throughout we hear Groovy for the first time,
right?
And this, but he hasn't. The character does end up turning into the later films and everything else into this like.
I think he almost assumes his final form when he's when he climbs out of the basement and he's got his one shirt sleeve turned off and he's torn off and he's like
chainsaw,
and he's got the iconic like he's got this like one muscly arm, he's got the other arm that's got the chainsaw, he's got the shotgun. Yeah, you're like, oh, this is the Ash that we all know. This is the Ash of the box of the cover of Army of Darkness, right?
Right. And that's the power fantasy.
That's the power fantasy.
Yeah. Like I think that's like part of where the very specific fandom for this film, this franchise, like that's where what has it kept it going so long. And I think a lot of people have tried to repeat that. But you don't see it in all the other horror films of this like era.
I mean, it's interesting. Like, you're making a good point about like how much we love the killers and the monsters, particularly in the 80s.
Yeah,
and the monsters and they kind of started to change. There's the slashers start to drop off in the 80s and the 90s. There's like the slashers are really not that popular until there's a resurgence with like Scream and all those movies. And the Final Destinations and all that. Like we are looking. It's interesting how the 80s does so much to set up so many in the 70s to set up this like variety, the grand buffet of the different types of horror movies. But like the 80s are like, they're so full of sequels. People are trying all these different concepts.
I think you've got that same year, Nightmare on Elm Street, Dreamwalkers. It comes out of the
Dream Warriors.
Dream Warriors. Yeah. And so I don't even know which Nightmare, what number is that? Yeah, it's the third one. Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah, so you're like deep into the horror franchise.
Well,
right. As a thing. And like this gets called a franchise as well, but like most of those franchises, the monster is the focal point.
Is the focal point. Yeah, here this is a little. It's not fully formed almost on purpose. It's a little And by the time we get to the ones that came out I think there's one that came out like the early aughts, and there's a couple that came out in the 2010s.
Yeah.
And just one that came out recently. They're just different films. Like
they have callbacks. They have things that are similar. The first one of those is just supposed to be a straight up remake, and then the second one expands the canon of
and they're
stories.
all like they're creepy, scary movies in their own right. But I don't think that they do this comedy. I think that this energy of this movie would be particularly tricky to replicate today. I think someone would really be needing to sort of put an eye as to like what makes this tick and why it's tough to get an audience on board with this. Like I think like I don't know, like there's something about this energy that it's one of these movies that makes me want to go back to 80s movies more, just to sort of like, wow, let's just see the whole, like, when we're just kind of developing a language for like what can be scary and what can we do and like where, you know, because I feel like, I don't know. Do you feel like it would be difficult to remake this movie or to make something like this nowadays?
Weirdly, I mean, they made the TV show, right? And that I mean that was a few years back now, but I mean still it's like more relatively modern, right? And it's all the same people coming back and making the same thing, right? And it does look different, right? That like partly it's just because it's a TV show. They don't have the kind of money that you have and time that when you're making a movie. So they're, but like, could somebody else make a, you know, I think so many attempts have been made at like remaking this. You know, Eli Roth's got a Cabin Fever. Yeah. This just feels very EvilDead 2-esque.
But it's very gross, very like.
Yeah, I mean, I think like
upsetting almost, you know.
Like part like that. I think that's you know, we have become desensitized, and so to make the same uber gross film, like they didn't get this movie rated in the 80s because it would have gotten an X rating
because of the amount of blood,
because of everything that happens in it, and like today it gets an R, right? It, you know, it like barely get, I mean, with a few cuts you could turn it into a PG-13 movie. So
for sure.
So like partly you know, we're gonna look back on this and find it all funny, whereas in the 80s it was more gory than that, you know.
Interesting. The standard was different.
I mean, like look around at the horror films at that time period, and it's clearly a level of gore that is higher in this than everything else.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It seems silly to us because it doesn't look as real because we're just able to make more realistic looking effects.
Right.
And so, but if you look at it from so I think you can. I think that not as much gets made. One, we don't make films that cost this kind of money now, right? So this is like a weird in-between space where it's not a low budget film and it's not a high budget. It's this weird, like, kind of mid-budget. You know, it had like I think a $3.5 million budget, which by today's standards that'd be like a $10 million film.
Which is very, very low budget.
Well, that's like, you think like Get Out that's like a $7 million film.
That's far out.
Right.
Blows my mind.
So like 10 is actually in a weird spot, right? It's not all the way down to like, you know, the total low budget territory. In fact, you know, a lot of our low budget films come through and that's why they're big money makers, right? Is because they can be shot for next to nothing. But like somebody committing to making like a $10 to $15 million film now, like they're probably not going to make a horror movie, or they're going to make something that people are going to argue about whether it's a horror movie. Some like A24 thing where like, is it really a suspense thing or something like that? Where if I were to like go through and say, hey, I'm going to do a horror comedy now, like trying to get this amount of money to be able to do it, I think might be tricky.
Yeah, you bring up a good point here because, right, like it almost makes you think about like the way you would do this today, and probably there would be a lot of compelling argument to say, well, let's capture the irreverent comedy. And then you'd go, well, who are like the big comedy performers? And suddenly you're hiring your Jack Blacks and stuff like that. People in Kevin Hart's who are going to be asking for a lot of money. Suddenly the money's going to go into. Yeah. But my point being is like, You know, on one of my other episodes, we covered a Godzilla film, and I've actually heard that the Godzilla -1,
Yeah.
that came out a few years ago, brilliant film for all this special effects, $15 million film.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like what you can do with the money is really curious and confusing because sometimes you can do a lot, but you know, if you were to sort of say, let's make this all about comedy, and you kind of put in the people who are getting top billing for comedy these days, you know, you put your John Cena or something, that like this budget's going to go through the roof real quick just because of the actors who would sell the comedy would need to be really big. And that's a really interesting point. Yeah.
I think too that Sam Raimi doesn't get credit as being an auteur. But I totally think he is. I think you see a Sam Raimi movie, and to me, they're almost as identifiable as seeing like a Wes Anderson film, right?
Yeah.
Like he's got there are all these stylistic things that he does, and if you are an auteur today, you're probably not making a horror film. Right, or you're making something that's more than a horror. It's gonna mean like something more or whatever.
Right, elevated horror.
Yeah.
It's like Ari Aster. Yeah. I love Ari
Aster.
I
will.
Definitely, definitely. That's a good call, Craig. Like, definitely an auteur in that, like, you know, it's an Ari Aster film. Yeah.
He like Sam Raimi's techniques that are.
But you could say Jordan Peele's an auteur as well. That he's got a touch to his films, you know.
Yeah. No, for certain.
But I see what you're saying. It's like if you're on a tour, you're trying to do
that social commentary thing.
You're trying to do The Lobster. You're trying to do The Killing of a Sacred Deer, like something that's not horror, but it will be mind bending, something kind of a little mind boggling or something.
A little bit more art house.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're going for awards. To a certain extent. And
you're making Baby Girl, which has some shock, but it's not horror, right? Yeah.
Right. Sam Raimi had no illusion of awards when he was making this movie, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's it. Maybe that's like the angle on it. But I do think he is. I mean, he's got all these techniques, and it's not just that he has but he stacks them, right? You know, there's the obvious. There's like the Dutch angle, right, which is all over every shot. And then
for the uninformed, take us through a little bit what a Dutch angle is.
So it's that you're gonna place the camera at a tilt and a weird angle, and that the characters are often like at weird angles to the frame, right? And he doesn't just do that. He loves
so it would almost look like as if the floor is tilted and people are standing on it.
Yeah. He likes to do like a push swirl into that move. So he likes to rotate the camera. He loves rotating shots, by the way, like 360 rotations.
And he's got these like crane shots where like the camera pulls away from Ash, and one scene where he's like passed out in a pool of water. And
zooms in you know, in a 360 rotating shot to his eye, and then pulls back out, reversing that at a different angle. He loves those kinds of shots, but he like stacks all these techniques. All the stop motion, right? There's which is, I mean, there's the obvious stop motion. There's the, you know, you see the Linda, his girlfriend, dancing around with the rolling head and all that. That's the obvious stop motion stuff. But there's also just like a lot of live action stop motion stuff where they're the scene where Ash's hair gets the gray streak through it, and you see the plants die at the end. That's all just him in stop motion.
Wow.
And then there's like a lot of like reverse camera work. Like the sound people on this film had nothing to do, right? Because you can't be. We're shooting it all in stop motion. We're shooting like the number of times that they're shooting in this movie at 24 frames a second is so low, right? That you can't be using. It's all ADR, right? It's all recorded afterwards. So which does make it sound weird at points, but I think also like contributes to the surrealness of the film. It's one of the things I like most appreciate about his stuff is that like he knows the technical film stuff. It's such a detailed level that like he knows exactly what stock he wants to use. He knows exactly what lens, and they invent a bunch of techniques, right? And he's got the they got, like, I think they call it the battering ram boom, right? Where he, like, over and over again, they slam the camera through something. They go crashing through a window or whatever.
Yeah.
And the way he's doing that is he literally has a battering ram that's sitting where the camera is mounted on top of a battering ram, so they can go smashing through a window
Right.
to get that shot, right? That's him. Like, him and the Coen brothers really invent the whole,
Like a bunch of these like techniques.
shaky cam, which is everywhere for a while, and all of us got annoyed with it. You're like, oh God, no more shaky cam. But it's perfect in his films and their films because they like know how to, they're using it for, like, intentionally, not just, oh, this will be cool, right? It's like, oh, this actually expresses something.
Right.
Right.
They deploy like places where there's a psychological,
Yeah.
some kind of like emotional impact. Yeah.
Yeah. When he's using the Dutch angles, it is to make you uncomfortable, right? And not just to, to be artsy, right?
Yeah.
So and it is weird, right? Because, like, he has all these little artsy cinematic techniques that he's using in this film that no one would have ever given an award to, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I think that's part of the look.
Yeah.
Right. And like, weirdly, 30 years later, whenever he's doing the TV show, he directs at least the first episode of that, and all of that's out. Right. Probably because it's a TV show, they don't have the time or whatever. He doesn't have any of these, like, crazy film techniques. Probably because they're shooting on video and not film. I don't know. But the TV show's great, but it doesn't have all that awesome cinematography that you can look at a thing and go, that's Sam Raimi.
Yeah. Oh, Greg, this is like, I feel like we could just have a podcast just about this movie alone. And I really appreciate your enthusiasm because it's one of those things that I feel like talking about these kind of movies really ignites and reminds me of, like, the things that I, like, love about horror films, which is there's just so much inventive storytelling techniques, and it's one of the few genres I feel like in just, like, popular mediums where you have a lot of, like, experimental filmmaking approaches because a lot of it is trying to get an emotional response and very often a physical response, right? Like the jump scare is a style of communicating story and message, and I do think that it's a place where I feel like find horror movies extremely compelling, that they are so in tune with just, like, the beating heart of a person.
I think it's such a bankable genre.
Yeah,
that gives them a lot of freedom to do stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, like, you say you're making a horror film, they're going to greenlight you because they know they're going to be able to make their money off of that.
Right. Because people are looking for, like, ways to get to find thrills.
Yeah.
People love being surprised. And I think that's some of the things that and I honestly, some people like just being scared. I'm a person who loves these experiences where something really freaks me out.
Yeah.
And so when you combine all those things and you kind of find the right cross section of a person who likes surprises, who likes, getting scared. Yeah. There's always an audience, I think, that a horror movie could find. Yeah. And this is, again, one of these movies that I think is worth for anyone to watch. Just because of how, how surprisingly fun it is, especially if you've never heard of it or you've never had anything to do with it. But, like, I think it has real staying power and it does something for people who I think have maybe less than exciting connotations with, like, quote unquote old movies. Because at this point, if I'm trying to tell something to my nephews or something like that, and then, they're like from the 80s, the 70s.
Old.
No, it feels different, and it does feel a bit timeless in that it's all connecting.
It's paced like something that is way more modern because it set a
Yeah. It does feel like it was edited on TikTok, like a little, Well, Greg, listen, we're kind of coming to the close of the show. I mean, I super love talking about this with you, man.
Yeah. This has been great, man.
Yeah, dude. Thank you. Before we sign off, we gotta cast the sandwich.
All right.
I already hunkered mine down, so you're the only one who's left. So if you could just present it for the audience, if you don't mind, just
okay.
We've got a few key ingredients.
Here.
Yeah, so
we got this I think it's actually like a coleslaw.
Yes.
That's on there, and then pickles and our spicy chicken.
Yes, there's
And
some kind of a sauce on it.
Yeah, there's definitely a hot sauce. The dry rub almost is probably
Could be its own ingredient. Yeah, okay.
And then this sweet bun.
Bun's great.
Right.
Howlin Ray is doing it really well. Let's see. Okay, let's cast a sandwich. So we got some characters here. We got Ash.
Right.
We've got Annie, who's the daughter of the professor.
Yes.
And then we've got her guy Ed.
Right. Yep.
And then we have Jake, who's the townie.
Right.
And we've got Jake's beau, Bobby Joe. And then we've got Linda, who's the original girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then of course we have Professor Noby and then Henrietta,
right,
the mom. Poor Annie, she's really discovering some foul things in her family. All right.
Yeah.
Where should we start? Because I think we could kind of also lump some of these into a category. Like,
sure,
there's just the Kandarian demons all together as personified by a few.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, who's got the star energy? Who's the Ash of this?
It has got to be the spice of this sandwich, right?
The spice, not the chicken.
The chicken's good, right?
Yeah.
But the standout here is the spice blend. This like dry rub that is
dry rub. Ash is kind of like a dry rub itself.
Yeah.
Okay. Literal ash is like dry rub.
Right.
Okay. Okay. I love that. The spice is ash. Okay. What about Annie, the professor's daughter?
Maybe she's the pickles, right? An important ingredient to this. It's got some flavor to it.
And she's kind of deciphering what's going on here. She's deciphering all of the madness and the heat that the Ash has got himself involved in.
And for an 80s movie, right? A pretty standout female character, right?
Totally.
Like, like there's not a lot of like problematic stuff in this movie.
Yeah, I don't think she's sexualized at any point.
No, not at all.
And she's not a ditz or a bimbo. She is
right.
She's serious. She's a serious researcher. She's the one who did the research in the desert and comes back with the pages.
Well, she's ultimately the hero of the film. She sacrifices herself, but then she reads the passages that actually like culminates the film. So and to me, the pickles are like kind of a hidden star or hidden hero of the sandwich.
And they keep the spice from going too far.
It's got a little tart to them.
Yeah. Jake and Bobby Joe.
Let's give them the coleslaw, right?
Hey, that's the food of the food of the working people.
Right.
That's food of my Ukrainian peasant lineage. Sure, that's good hardworking people's food.
Right.
They're the coleslaw. Right. Okay. The blue collar townies. That tracks. That's good for you.
Sure.
Do we think that Ed? Well, I think. Hold on. Ed is Annie's boyfriend. Do we need to give him a part?
I don't think he's arm candy, right? Yeah, he's just cannon fodder.
Yep. Does Linda, the girlfriend who gets beheaded, does she kind of fall in the category?
I mean, she's only alive in this movie for about 5 minutes. I mean, she does have a significant role after she's beheaded.
True. Actually, her bodiless head does more.
Yeah. Let's give her the chicken.
Yeah, let's make her the chicken.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the chicken could be kind of unless you have a different feeling here, but the chicken kind of to me embodies the Kandarian demons of it all.
Sure, absolutely. That's the body of the sandwich. That's the body.
That's what the spice
movie
is attracted to.
Yeah.
That's what the pickles are kind of riding on top of.
Is the book a character?
Oh, for sure. Sure. Everything is between the pages of the book.
And I think the bun.
The bun.
Yeah,
man.
is like our book.
Yeah. It's got some wrinkles on it. It's good.
Yeah.
Is that a face you're eating? Greg, what is that?
I mean, it had not occurred to me before.
Howlin Ray's, your buns are delicious. I love that. Okay, so the book is a character, and so all the other demons, Henrietta the demon kind of gets to be part of the chicken.
The chicken, yeah.
But I love it. Yeah, so Linda, the girlfriend, Henrietta, and all the other demons are the chicken. Ash is our spice rub.
Yep.
Annie's the pickles.
Yeah.
Jake and Bobby Joe, hard-working class. Coleslaw. Well, I guess sauce. Do we want to give the sauce to a part?
So, yeah. Who do we got left? Is there somebody deserving of the sauce?
It's a good question. What about the professor? Maybe. I mean,
Could just be all the blood.
the sauce is the blood.
There's so much blood.
It is a character of it's a character of its own. Yeah. And of course, the Necronomicon is the buns.
The bun.
Yeah. Well done, Greg.
Yeah.
Well casted. This is fantastic, Greg. Man, thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thanks for having me, man. This has been great. I appreciate that you appreciated this movie.
Oh my god, yeah. Thank you for encouraging me to watch it, because I realized again in the sort of we just had an episode about Godzilla, and that's sort of a pop culture zeitgeist. I was like, yeah, I know what Evil Dead 2 is about. And I'm like, but I've never seen it. I'm like, I gotta watch this. Yeah, it's thank you for bringing that to my life. So hell yeah. Greg, is there anything you want to plug? Is there anything? Do you have work that people can interact with? I know you've got some music that's out there.
Sure. You can. I mean, under my name, Greg Hellings, you can find me on all the major music streaming services. And if you are a fan of David Lynch and Twin Peaks, I have a TTRPG on itch. It's called Fish In A Percolator.
Yep. And that's TTRPG's tabletop role-playing game for those of you who are not in the lingo. And itch.io has got a little ton of game content. But yes, this one's called
Fish In A Percolator.
Yeah, hell yeah. And I've run it. I've played it. It's a good time. It's a great way to create a Lynchian kind of town and to experience scenes of strange and unusual characters who are all up to something.
Right.
Yeah. Perfect. And so your music can be found at Greg Hellings. That's Greg Hell. INGS. Hellings. Greg, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, man.
Folks, thanks so much again for tuning in to Scary Movie in a Sandwich. We're excited to have you here with us. Join us next time. And until then, stay hungry and stay scared.